Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our podcast. I'm Chris, joined by my brothers, Adam.
Hello.
And where's Eric? Did he get the link?
Should have.
It's a bit weird. Is that normally this late?
Don't mind yourself. Yes, he is.
I said, hold on. I said, sorry now, lads. I said it to him again. Yeah, and we'll get him in. That's a bit fucking weird. Anyway, while we're waiting for Eric, we'll fill you in on what we're going to be talking about today. Basically, in today's episode, we've got a few things to cover. One of them being the Horizon Forbidden West price controversy, which I think that's more of an example, but it speaks more to a much larger controversy around pricing in general, I think, right? An issue. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about coming up this week when this is out, the PlayStation Showcase is going to be on, and so we're going to give our predictions before that happens as to what we think will be shown, and then also maybe some of our hopes of what we might see. And then we'll also just have general video game chit chats and jargon. And if you would like to join in on that conversation, then we'd love to hear from you. So if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to jump down into the comments and let us know your thoughts on everything that we bring up today. And of course, if you enjoyed this, be sure to hit that like button, hit subscribe, and click that notification bell so you know when future content comes out. If this is the audio platforms, then you can also touch base with us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take, again, to give your take on everything we bring up today. I'm really fucking thrown off here without Eric. I tell you what we'll do. We'll cue the music, and hopefully by the time the music is played out, we'll have him in, and then we can jump straight into the conversation. So cue that music. Yeah, no, he's still not here. I think we'll just fucking... I think we'll just burst on, will we? And hopefully... I think he's having technical issues, so hopefully he'll get in at some point. Anyway. You know what? While we're looking for Eric, Adam, how do you feel about fetch quests? In video games. As we're searching for him in the internets here. How do you feel about fetch quests in video games?
Fetch quests. I don't really have. They're fine. I mean, they're just filler, really. I know there's a huge kind of distaste for the fetch quests, but I suppose it's just more of a same old kind of shit, and people just want to experience something new and different. But I actually don't care for them. Like I was on past few weeks playing Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah.
And that game is just like, that's a fetch quest game. Like
right.
All over the place.
Yeah.
But what I liked about that game, the way it handles fetch quests, is that if you already have an item that someone's looking for, you can kind of just, like, they'll go, oh, I need an apple or something because I need to make an apple stew or something like that, right? And then once you're finished, like, the dialogue, no, seriously, that's the type of fetch quest they're in.
Yeah, okay.
Once you finish the dialogue, it's like, now you've got the quest. But if you have an apple already, you could just talk to that person again and say, well, here you go, actually, I have it. So it already kind of rewards you for, like, you would have done exploration. Like, if you've done exploration and found the shit, it's not saying, no, I don't want that one that you have. I want you to go get the one at a certain location in whatever, right? So it's not like, it's not that mundane. So I think that kind of handles it quite well. But you generally only find them in Western RPGs, I think. Yeah. Like, you find them in RPGs in general, but Western RPGs in particular, I think,
yeah,
plastered with the fetch quest.
I typically don't like them. No, do you know what? It depends on how they're framed, actually, because I like collectibles.
Yeah.
Which is a fetch quest. But it's just framed differently. Fetch quest is like someone saying, go get this for me. And usually my response to that is, fuck you, man. Like, get it yourself.
Yeah.
Whereas collectibles is like I think one game that did that really well was Spider-Man on the
Or like,
PS4.
try get me the pigeons or get me the backpacks.
No, you see, here's the thing. Get me the pigeons
Yeah.
was a fetch quest, and I hated it.
Hmm.
Get the backpacks was a collectible, and I loved it. And in some ways, like, yeah, they're like really similar. But for me, it was like there was something about the collectibles in the world that made you explore the map, but also it said something about Spider-Man's character.
Yep.
It's like he's often doing something happens, he has to web his bag and just go, and he's like, I'll get that later because I can't leave it there. And it happens so often, and he always gets strung up in something else that he never has time to go back and get the thing that he meant to get. And so I thought that was like a fun, like, it's a fun little detour exercise, but at the same time it says something about him as a character.
Yeah, so it seems as though the fetch quest is like, it's like the backpack, it's we want you to explore every corner of the map.
Yeah.
With the pigeons, it's we want you to show off your ability to maneuver quickly around the city. And it's like, it's just that it's unfortunate. It's like those types of we want you to play our game is disguised by this really mundane task. Like, anyone playing the game doesn't think like, oh, this is making me become better at web slinging. People are just like shouting at their TV because the little fucker went that way. Like,
yeah.
You know, the worst fetch quests are the ones where you go off to get something for someone, and then when you bring it back to them, and they're like, "Oh, I actually got one, so I don't need it. That's okay."
Oh, that's 100% like, fuck you. That's killer.
Yeah.
Or I did really dislike the ones where if you go and you're going to get the thing and someone has it, and that person's like, I'll give you this thing if you go get
do
this
for me.
thing.
Yeah.
And then you go, okay, so I'll go do that, and then you come across someone else who's like, oh yeah, so I can help you get that, but first you must do this for me, and it becomes this domino thing where you're like, I wasn't even that interested in like the first thing, so this is getting way out of hand, and it's often like little silly things. So like I really dislike, I hate filler fetch quests. So I think like in Final Fantasy VII Remake, there was a couple of little side quests you could do as a mercenary. One of them involved finding cats.
Yeah. Again, though,
there's no world where I want to do that.
Yeah. I feel like that's them kind of going, we want you to explore the slums as much as you can. But the thing is that the slums is, if you're nostalgic for the game, the slums is interesting enough to explore by yourself. And there's other things you could have done rather than just finding cats.
Well, the thing is, the fact that there is other side quests that point you in the direction of other parts of the slums anyway. You are already exploring the slums. So it's doing something like looking for someone's cats is silly. Now, something that felt like it would have more consequence works for me, where it's like, my child is missing and they're in danger. Could you go find them? And then when you find them, they actually are in danger and you save them from something. And you're like, I feel like I achieved something with my skills.
Yeah, like in Ghost.
Remember, like that one in particular was so strange because like, and I'm only using it as an example, but just plenty of games that do stuff like this. But like Cloud himself says, this sucks when he's looking for the cats, and you're like, I agree with you. This particular moment does suck in what is an incredible game. It's like, this is, I don't know what anyone was thinking when they put this in.
Do you think that was just them trying to fill out content?
I think in that moment, I think there's a couple of cases where I think that is the case. Like, I think, I remember like there's that chapter which is essentially a fetch quest in and of itself, where you revisit the sewers and then you chase a little Abzu baby for fucking ages to get the key back, and it goes on a loop for ages, but you have to get that key to help Leslie to get through the door to get the grapple hook so you can go up to get Aerith. That is a fetch quest in and of itself, and it's a whole repeat of a chapter. It's a repeat of a boss fight. It's a cool boss fight, but it's like this whole chapter is filler. That's all it is. Because really, we just need to get that grapple gun and go. Like that's, or find another way to climb. Used to be a battery, guys. Used to be a battery.
Yeah, that's the one part of that game where I'm like, I really wish it was a bit more faithful. There was something about climbing up the wall
Yeah.
was really like.
I wanted
Um,
to hear a rendition of da, 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 da,
well,
da, da,
not
da,
so much
da.
that, but
I'm
the
joking.
the it's like, you know, when you go to a really beautiful city
Mm,
and then you like go down a street and it's like just there's rubbish everywhere and it looks dodgy, like really dodgy, and you see
mhm.
then you start to see the horrible sides of the city. And
Happened to me in Rome.
I think that wall section kind of does that, where it's like this is where everyone really lives, and then as you start climbing up and up and up, you start to see how others live,
Yeah.
because you kind of see the lights in the distance, don't you? And it's like,
Isn't it a wonderful metaphor for upper class, lower class? Like
yeah, yeah.
it's literal, but
I
it's
just
really
think
well
that
done.
game, the remake, really lost that side of it.
A little bit, yeah. I think the original captures that incredibly well.
Yeah. Well, it does it
Um,
visually, as opposed to, I think they tried to do it through Jesse's parents a little bit, don't they, in the
they
remake?
do, but it kind of just felt more like. I mean, I suppose one thing that they did, which was kind of interesting, was make you a little bit sympathetic towards people who are literally just living their lives, doing their jobs, who are dying in these reactor bombings. And I thought that's something the remake did really well, which is pointing out that it's like these eco terrorists. Yes, there's a really good eco side to it, but the terrorist side is also there.
Yeah.
And innocent people do get caught in these bombings. And, I think they did a great job at like Tifa, I suppose, was the character who was the most like, I'm really on the fence about this because I
Mhm.
believe in our mission, but I don't agree with our methods at
Mhm.
all. But then Barrett's just fucking extremist. Yeah, I thought that was really good. But I think you're right. I think there's like the whole class thing wasn't as strong, and I think that's because Wall Market itself appeared quite not really well done up, but like there was a lot of people like
Yeah.
that didn't necessarily look impoverished. They were in suits, they were paying a lot of money, they owned big clubs, that kind of stuff. It was
I
kind of
liked Walmart in the remake, and I think that's a problem.
right. Yeah. I
Uh,
get you, and
the,
we
the
said that before.
yeah,
Actually,
the first original, I'm just like, I don't want to really be here. I feel uncomfortable here.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. Generally, I don't enjoy fetch quests or looking for things. Unless, do you know what? It has to be that like the game is built around it actually, because
Or if it
it's
starts off as a mundane fetch quest and becomes like,
something crazy.
yeah, like what you were fetching actually ends up being much larger than what you anticipated, and it becomes like a really badass mission. I have
Yeah,
no
like
examples of that right now, but I feel like I've done
I
that.
feel like we could find one very easily in a game called. No,
Well, I'm not gonna mention it.
let's not do it. Let's not do it. Eric's not here. Maybe when he comes in, he can
Yeah.
do it. We won't do that. That's not us. But you know what we're talking about. Go find me a golden claw. Oh God, it does lead to.
Or the dog. It's the dog, I think, isn't it? It's
The
like, I just
dog.
need to go back to my owner. Okay. Wait, what?
Sure. Wait, what? What the fuck? Yeah. But even actually, like I suppose a game you'd never think of as a fetch quest, but in essence, in its entirety of what it actually is, the Uncharted games or the Tomb Raider games.
Well,
Do you see what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like
that's a
in
stretch.
essence,
That's a stretch.
is it?
Yeah.
The whole game is the fetch.
No.
Yeah, you're always looking for a thing. It's a MacGuffin
But
quest.
for yourself, though, really, except for maybe with two, but generally it's for yourself.
Can you never
Maybe
fetch
that's
something
why.
for yourself?
Maybe that's why two is my least favorite.
What do you mean?
Well, with the other ones, like it's clear that Drake is doing it for
Personal.
him. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
personal
but
reason.
it's personal the second one too, right? He's really
Well-
pissed that he spent a couple of months in jail. So he's like, "Fuck you! I'm gonna take it first."
Well, it's part that the thrill of doing it is personal, but the actual thing at the end isn't necessarily.
No.
So yeah, that's why that one never resonated with me as much as the other ones, just because it's not like, the other ones. It's clear that he's been wanting them since childhood.
Yeah, you see, it's fine because there's only 4, and it ended up being kind of a personal character journey in the end. But by time Uncharted 2 came out, it seemed like there was going to be lots of these and lots of
Yeah,
adventures.
and it could
And
be
I
anything.
suppose at that point, my thinking was like, not every James Bond mission has to be like it goes back to when he was a child. You know, it's not all Skyfall. Fuck me, like, you know, and like I like some of those Bond stories too, but sometimes it's cool when it's just Bond gets swept up in some crazy adventure.
It's just his job.
It's just his job. It's what he does. I'm quite looking forward to the new one, actually. I have to say.
I'm not so sure because of that latest trailer.
Mm.
I'm getting serious Spectre vibes off of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's some, and I think that will be there because I think ultimately, even though there's glaring issues with Spectre, I think both Spectre and Skyfall did incredibly well, and so I think the studio likes that direction. But also, I have a feeling, I don't know, from the last trailer, I thought there was, I think the guy's gonna do something ballsy.
Yeah, but I'm just hoping it's not Die Another Day ballsy. Because it seemed a little bad.
Right.
The score sounds amazing.
Hans Zimmer did the score. I'm very excited.
I'm hands on for the score.
Hey.
But yeah, I'm not so sure about. As his final one, I'm saddened. You know.
Sure. Yeah, I get.
They're just never gonna capture Casino again.
No. But that's, you know, that was a capturing lightning in a bottle. But I wonder.
Well, it's about stripping away everything and saying, look, he doesn't need to surf across an iceberg or have a laser beam from space. It's just like he just needs to gamble.
But you see, this is it, right?
Is it? That's all he does.
Yeah, he gambles with his life. He gambles with his money. He gambles with love. He's a gambler at heart, really. But he gambles at the rules of the road. No, but it
is true.
I suppose what happens is generally you get a Bond run. It goes, by the end of it, it goes too nuts. And then they reboot with another Bond run. And
That's
usually
true.
the first
every
Bond
reboot
movie
is the best Bond movie.
Right, because like you look at, okay, so Sean Connery is a different thing. They're finding their feet at the beginning. I would like, I'm sorry, in no universe is Dr. No the best Sean Connery Bond movie. It's just it's not true.
No, it's Goldfinger.
Probably From Russia with Love, I would say. But,
okay.
Other people say Goldfinger, and that's it's a perfectly great movie. Like Roger Moore. I'm sorry, everyone. Live and Let Die is his best. Absolutely the best Roger Moore Bond movie. You get to fucking Timothy Dalton. That one's a toss-up, actually, because the two of them are solid. I think Living Daylights feels more like a Bond movie, but License to Kill is cool because he's like...
License to Kill is the best one there, yeah.
I like them both.
Okay.
One of them feels more in the Bond universe, and then the other one is just like, what if Bond went off killing the character?
Yeah, the other one is Born
cool,
Supremacy,
like...
but like his name's Bond.
Yeah. So I think they both work. Pierce Brosnan, obviously Goldeneye.
Yep.
We missed George Lazenby, but he only had one. So it was both his best.
That was his best one.
That's all you can do. It was his best one. And then obviously with Daniel Craig, I'd say Casino Royale. But
and I think sure actually,
other people probably think
I think Roger Moore had the best last one for each run.
Well, his last one, A View to a Kill. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. He didn't stop because they were like, "This has gone too wild." He just got too old, and you could tell. And it's
but like, what I want to end on though.
Yeah, no, his end one was actually great. So hopefully this is more of A View to a Kill than it is A Die Another Day. But we will see.
Do you think the Bond game will tie? Is there a Bond game? Yeah, there was a Bond game coming out.
There's a Bond Project 007.
That's it. Yeah,
with
the Hitman dudes, isn't it? IO.
Yeah.
Do you think it's gonna have any tie-in with the film, or is it just gonna be?
No, I don't think it'll have any tie-in with the film at all. I really do think they're going to take that Insomniac Rocksteady approach of like taking the character,
strip him down,
and taking the universe that everyone
associates. They'll make you feel like Bond.
Yeah, but I think that's the right approach with a Bond game. I don't think it should be a movie tie-in, and I don't think he should look like any of the actors.
It'll be the Spider-Man approach. It'll just be like they'll do that kind of amalgamation of all the faces and just.
Yeah.
He'll come out looking like the Elephant Man.
He'll be a blue-eyed, red-haired. Hairy-chested, Scottish-sounding, kilt-wearing womanizer. Press X to slap.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible. Do you ever see those like clips that people have like put together of like the early Bond movies? Just all the moments, and It is usually the Sean Connery era, but it's just all the moments where he's just disgraceful to women. It's terrible.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
turns a girl around and goes, "Quick, man talk," and he just smacks her.
Smacks her in the button. Yeah.
Head off on your way.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll never put that.
They were. They were silly. Even at a young age, they were fucking silly.
Yeah, well, I suppose like we were growing up in the 90s, and that absolutely unacceptable behavior. Whereas that is the 60s. So I wonder if in the 60s when people watched that, were they like, that's a bit off.
No, I'd say the lads were probably laughing and the women were laughing so that they don't get smack.
Jesus Christ.
I 100% think that even back then, like, that shit still, like, deep down wasn't acceptable, and it was just that, you know, you have that locker room boys trying to be tough kind of shit, but deep down they're like,
right.
Actually, that's not that right.
Well, you know what? I hope so. I hope it was always a case of that's actually not cool.
Well, when you think about each generation, like, I mean, obviously some people are brought up differently, but like, you know, I think each generation you start realizing that how wrong all that shit is. So at some point, your parents and their parents would have taught to say that's not right, and it was that. So it must have been not okay.
Yeah, I'd love to know in like when we're old, what's going to be the
unacceptable
thing that's absolutely unacceptable that we're like, well, like back in my day, like what could be so bad? It's like we've already said, like, yeah, no, physical violence of any kind, of any sort, totally wrong. And name calling of any kind is totally wrong. Like, just so many things that we've already kind of like culled, which is great. And I'm not saying it's not, but I do wonder, like, because every generation seems to have a thing where the young people would give out to the older people on a topic that they just don't understand. And I would love to know what it's going to be when we're like old. Like, we don't know what it is yet, but
no,
there's going to be something where it's like, maybe there's a vote on something and we're like, nope, I totally disagree with that. And everyone's like, you guys are just stuck in your ways. And we're like, I don't
happens
see the
all
point
the time.
or something. You know what I mean? It happens. So
it happens all the time.
That'll be interesting. Maybe speaking of voting, I wonder should Sony put to a vote about this whole pricing thing to see it?
Well, they kind of did, didn't they?
Yeah, and hold on. I actually have a. Where is it? Jim Ryan, isn't it?
Yeah, he's the head. Yeah.
He put out a thing, put out a statement. Where's it gone? Oh no!
Is it just him lying on a fur rug saying, "We're sorry"?
No, it's not that. No, it's not that. Oh. No, it's about the pricing with regards to Horizon Forbidden West. So I suppose if people haven't heard about that, they not long ago released the whoa, what happened to my light? Oh my goodness, they're listening.
They're trying to shut us down.
Hold on. First of all, we can't get Eric. Second, and then what is fucking happening? It's Monica. Imagine it was. Let me guess. Anyway, no, it
CHR was deleted.
Eric. Oh no, Eric, are you out there? He's deleted. Oh fuck. Anyway, I hold on. I'm gonna find this quote. But anyway, for anyone who hasn't heard about the Horizon Forbidden West thing, they released the announced date. No, they announced the release date. They released the date. They're going to announce it. You follow me. I will follow you. They announced the release date, and then they followed up with like the pre-order date, like a countdown for the date you can pre-order it.
That's weird.
Why does everything have a countdown now? Fucking even like
stupid.
Like, don't get me. I love Hideo Kojima, but he has a countdown for his new trailer. Like, what the... Anyway, for a game that most people played. Anyway, so they released their pricing, and it was met with a lot of backlash. The reason for this was that you could buy your PS4 copy, you could buy your PS5 copy, but to upgrade your PS4 copy to a PS5 copy, you would have to pay an extra $10, as they were putting it in the US. So I suppose over here in Europe, that's €10. I suppose in the UK is £10. I think that's just transferable across the board. But the reason people were so pissed at this, because this happened for the Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut as well, But obviously, people are like, that wasn't a one-off. Then this is a trend. This is going forward, and also people were told in the beginning that all the initial games in the launch year would be that the upgrade would be free to help people
Transition, yeah.
transition. So this was going against that promise, and people were mad about it. And so, Jesus, where is I had it? I'm so annoyed, man. I had it open earlier, and now it's gone. And this is so unprofessional. Don't follow this podcast. Some people can't even make it on. Some people can't fucking keep their fucking quotes at hand. Anyway, how
Was
do you
it
feel
Jim
about?
Ryan tweet? Was it?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, I typed that wrong. John Ryan.
What?
Well, I think the initial, because we talked a bit about that with the Ghost of Tsushima one anyway.
Yeah.
And we were saying how we didn't feel that the extra tenner was necessarily worth it for the kind of features that you're getting. So it is clear that they're just like, oh yeah, how do we make more money out of it? It is very anti-consumer, because I can't see that the extra 10 making that much of a difference for the developers, because we've talked about how games are becoming more expensive to make, and we should be supporting the developers and all that kind of stuff, but that extra tenner for the very few people that actually have a PS5 right now is, I can't see it making that much of a difference, really.
No.
And if they are going to charge an extra tenner, it should be for a lot more stuff than just 4K 60 or whatever. And Ghost of Tsushima showed that the haptic stuff that they're putting into the controller is not as groundbreaking as we were kind of hoping it to be.
No, yeah,
it's
and
nice, but it's not Astrobot level.
If the upgrade made a huge difference to the experience, then I think people would be all in. And at some point, it might be that. But at the moment, if you're not really feeling or seeing that difference, and then you're looking at, and a lot of people, to be fair, were looking at the Xbox's smart delivery system, where you're not paying for it.
Yeah, it's interesting how, leading up to the Xbox, we were very confused by that model.
Yeah.
And
now in practice, it's kind of...
In practice, it fucking works. It just shows that they've really done their prep and research and testing, and they designed a system that works really, really well. Because, even with Ghost of Tsushima, the way once you get the PS5 version and you're wanting to transfer your PS4 save to the PS5 save, or make a PS5 save, the way you do that is not the same as the way you do it in Final Fantasy 7 Remake.
No.
So I'm always really confused about what's the actual method of transferring my save. And what's really annoying is that you need the save and the previous game generally installed as well. It's just like taking up more room generally. It's just really messy. It's so messy that Bethesda didn't do that with Doom Eternal for the PS5 upgrade, because there's no clear method of doing it. So with Doom Eternal, for example, even though I'm so far in it on the PS4 version, I would have to start again with the PS5 version. That's kind of annoying, but
yeah,
I can't really blame Bethesda on that, because I don't know who's at fault here, because there's no consistent method of getting your save across. Whereas with the Xbox, with the smart delivery, it's the exact same game, it's the exact same save. You don't have to have two versions. There's none of that confusion about you turn the game on and it's like you have to, which version are you wanting to play, and
yeah
it's
no. I think Xbox are on a high at the moment. I really do.
Well, they've really taught, and I think that it all comes back down to, it's not that PlayStation didn't think of this. I think it's because they purposely decided not to. It was very clear that they weren't going to do PS4 backwards compatibility until there was backlash. So it was never part of the design process to do that.
No.
Whereas Microsoft were very clear that this is going to be almost like an iteration of the previous generation, that it would carry through everything. They've been building backwards compatibility since the Xbox One, so that was always going to be there.
Didn't even the 360 have some backwards compatibility for earlier Xbox,
A
the
little
earlier
bit.
Xbox console?
You
I think
wouldn't be able
on,
to
on a few select titles, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they didn't. It was kind of like the way the OG PS3 was with the PS2. It wasn't. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't
No, I
like
get
the way
that,
it is
but
now.
it was. I suppose they were always hinting at this being their kind of service.
Yeah, well, they were trying to get backwards compatibility as an Xbox One launch. That was
Okay.
always
Yeah.
in the back of their mind. It's just that feature took so long to do that it didn't come out till near the end of the Xbox One life cycle. So that's why it's like, oh yeah, well, if Microsoft can do it, then Sony can do it. It's like, yeah, but they've been trying to do it for years. And Sony's only thinking about doing it now since everyone has been actually wanting it. This is an example of when you try to bake it in as opposed to you've been planning on it all along. Is that now we've got like Sony's method is that it has a PS4 version of the game and a PS5 version of the game as opposed to just one disc that just takes the upgrade. It's really, really strange and a poor oversight.
Yeah, I would agree. I finally found the quote, guys. I'm so sorry. It's here now. Unlike Eric. Jim Ryan says sorry. He said Thursday was to be a celebration of Horizon Forbidden West and the amazing team at Guerrilla working to deliver it on February 18, 2022. However, it's abundantly clear that the offerings we confirmed in our pre-order kickoff missed the mark. Last year, we made a commitment to deliver free upgrades for our cross-gen launch titles, which included Horizon Forbidden West. While the pandemic's profound impact pushed Forbidden West out of the launch window we initially envisioned, we will stand by our offer. Players who purchase Horizon Forbidden West on PlayStation 4 will be able to upgrade to the PlayStation 5 version for free. So that's now going to happen. I also want to confirm today that moving forward, PlayStation first-party exclusive cross-gen titles, newly releasing on PS4 and PS5, both digital and physical, will offer a $10 digital upgrade option from PS4 to PS5. This will apply to the next God of War and Gran Turismo 7 and any other exclusive cross-gen PS4 and PS5 title published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. And that's how he finishes it. So,
just not for this game, but for future games.
It's a bit like, okay, you can have this one for free, but that's it. You can get one more cookie, but that's it. You know?
Yeah.
It comes off a bit teachery or something. I don't know.
I don't really like Jim. If I'm gonna be honest, I never did.
Okay, I never really followed him, to tell you the truth.
He used to always be like for Gamescom. He was always kind of PlayStation's host.
Oh, okay.
But I can't remember his position. But I never really liked him, and I was always surprised when he became the head of Sony, this division, the PlayStation side of things. Yeah, he just comes off as a businessman.
Yeah.
As opposed to,
he is.
I know he's a businessman, but like the thing is, like, the people who really take the businesses forward in whatever industry they're in, they generally have a passion for the thing that they're doing. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
like I actually really like.
I don't think he has a passion for PlayStation. I think
I
he
really
has a
like
passion.
Phil Spencer.
Oh yeah, and Phil was
yeah.
a game dev. That's his background.
And I like his energy and his enthusiasm towards games.
Yeah, versus like Don Matrick, which would have been more business head.
Yeah,
just before him.
I think you have a good point. I think maybe PlayStation need a Phil Spencer. You know, like Phil Spencer comes off as a Kevin Feige type, business savvy,
but loves the
also
stuff that he's doing.
Fucking loves it. Like huge fan.
Yeah.
And like that's not just like some people I think are skeptical about Kevin Feige as a fan. Like they think like that's just because he's working in it. And it's like no man, if you ask him, he loves this shit. Like he can list off his favorite issues and his favorite storylines and comics and stuff. Like he loves Marvel. So, and I think you could tell that with Phil Spencer, he loves video games across the board. It's not that he's just Xbox, but he's doing his job as someone working for Xbox. But and I think Jim Ryan just doesn't come off as that same energy at all.
Yeah, and a lot of people like who essentially brought PlayStation back from near death at the end of the PS3 era into PS4 era a lot of those guys are either gone from the company, as
Mm.
in been pushed out, or have been demoted from their positions. It's really not looking great in there.
Yeah.
With the exception of Herman being head of the Worldwide Studios, I think that's a good move. That was a really good move.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I would love to see him head of head of
You're right.
PlayStation
Head of PlayStation
because
instead.
he's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
fucking passionate about games.
Like the actual games, yeah. Yeah.
And like same with
Gaming
Corey
experience.
Barlog, like when you hear those guys on Twitter, was Shuhei, Herman, or Corey, you hear them on Twitter, you know that there's no bias there, right?
Mm.
I mean, there has to be for the company reasons, but you can see past that bias within their tweet, and you can see that they're passionate about the games, and you're never going to get that from a gym.
No, you know what as well? I actually was thinking about this not long ago. I saw a tweet from Kojima, who I love following. He's great. But he was celebrating his like 58th birthday. And he was saying, I'm going to keep making games as long as like my mind allows me the creativity to do so.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking like, what's he going to do when he's done though? Like, obviously anyone would retire, but I'm like, it's Kojima. Like I don't know. To me, he's kind of like Mike Shinoda of the video game world. Like he kind of has to keep doing this or something. And I was like, what if he fucking took up a head position for PlayStation in terms of like as a creative director?
I don't know.
He's so like.
No, I don't think he's got the right
so
head for
passionate, and he's also
he is. Yeah.
He's very business savvy as well, though. Like he actually is.
He is in a, like you said, like he's more like like a rock star actually. That's the closest thing that you can say to him.
Yeah, he is. Really.
That he is willing to take risks for the experience of learning from that experience. You know, and I don't think that's a position. That's not something you want some of the head of a company do. It's like, yes, there's risks to take, but not to that extent. He's like that, not in a punk rock sense.
Yeah, you know, what if the PlayStation 6 just was invisible? You know, you can't find one, and you have to.
Yeah, I mean, PS5 is kind of like that, isn't it? So.
Yeah. It's in stealth.
Yeah.
It's missing, like Eric. What is going on? Anyway. Where are you, Eric? Out there in the ethos. Horizon Forbidden West, then, are you planning on getting it?
Oh yeah, I'll get it when it comes out. I'm not pre-ordering it though. Like
I'm not pre-ordering
weird.
it.
Like why pre-order it? There's going to be copies.
There's gonna be loads of copies.
I don't understand the whole pre-order digital thing.
I suppose they give an incentive with bonuses, and then for them it just knows that they've already sold the game before it's out.
No, I understand their reasoning.
But I don't understand
customer end. I just don't get.
I suppose if they really want those bonuses, but skins are not my thing, and I'd have to like really like the game before I'm into like getting the art book or something like that. Like I like Horizon, I really do, but I'm not a hardcore fan.
Same, yeah. Like
in that sense,
looking forward to playing it, but I wasn't as into the original as others have been.
Yeah, I'm like, it's a great title. Aloy's a great character. I hope it continues as a series, and I'll be there to see it all the time. But like, I think I played Horizon Forbidden West once the whole way through, and then I started a second playthrough, or Zero Dawn. Sorry, Zero Dawn. I started a second playthrough and then just went off onto other things. There's not a lot of replay value for me.
No, there isn't. And yeah, that's one thing I hope to have in the next one is like there's more to do in that world, like. Like with Ghost of Tsushima, for example, is that you're helping other people. Like that.
Yeah, that would be
didn't
great.
really have that in the first one. Like that could have easily have been a linear story-driven game because the story itself, the story beats are linear. Those sequences in which you experience the story are linear. You don't really experience the story in world.
No,
which is. Kind of defeats the purpose of an open world in my eyes. I think an open world needs to like that the world tells the story.
Yeah.
A lot more than like. I mean, it kind of does in Horizon, but not to the same extent as other open world games.
I think though I'm going to be buying with that quote. I'm going to be buying the PS4 version.
Yeah, I
free
mean,
up
why not?
free upgrade the PS5. So like, why wouldn't they? And then it's cheaper, and then you also have a copy for your PS4. Like
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know,
this
like
is this
it's
this is
all
another.
bad messaging, but at the same time, aren't most people going to do that? This is why
Yeah, this is
they
why they're
want to stop
charging the
that now.
extra tenner, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
this incentive to say, okay, you might as well just buy the PS5 version. But um, that's kind of the beauty with what Microsoft have done with the smart delivery thing, is that they only have to produce one disc. You know, like Sony's after they've made it more expensive on themselves by
yeah,
having to produce two discs for two different consoles and two different prints and like it was just unnecessary. So now they're trying to
it
like
is.
this is their method of kind of getting some of that cost back, but it's a poor method. And then when you look at the PS4 and PS5 copies, PS5 is always going to be an extra tenner over the PS4 version anyway,
Yeah,
which is a
yeah.
bad. I think that's a bad decision too. It's like, you know,
I don't think that's a good decision because
it's
I
not when you
don't
can
think.
see the Xbox version just there and it's cheaper and it's like, you know,
Yeah,
and yeah, it's just it was a big mistake on their part.
definitely, and I think as well, um, the until haptic feedback really plays a huge role in a game, the jump isn't enough for people, I think, to go up
No.
an extra $10 or €10 or whatever it is. I don't think people are seeing enough of a like huge graphics leap or like for example, the load time on Ghost of Tsushima was like, can you get any faster? Like the
Mm.
load time is already, you know what I mean? Like, and some people were never bothered by load times anyway. They just want a really good immersive game experience. They're not $10 bothered by loading times. So I think really
Yeah,
until the full um systems of the PS5 are being utilized, then that price jump is not going to
yeah, and they need to be. I think they need to be fucking careful with their movement here because, like, yeah, I think the PS5 hasn't been fully tapped into just yet. It
yeah.
will be maybe 3 years from now is probably where we're probably going to see the pinnacle of it, and then it's probably going to plateau after that.
Yeah.
But if they continue with their current messaging, you know, it's easier to get an Xbox than it is to get a PlayStation. People
And it's
would
easier to get your Xbox games than it is to get your PlayStation games because you don't know which version to fucking buy.
every method of playing on Xbox is cheaper. Whether you're wanting to buy it physically or you're wanting to go down the Game Pass route, every method of playing on Xbox is cheaper than playing on PlayStation. And so if their current message is that it's more expensive and you won't see a difference, then why not just get an Xbox? It's in this first transition year where they should be way more careful with their messaging. And once they have established a base, then they can fuck around with pricing maybe if they really want to, you know, lose faith with people.
Yeah.
But this early on is just mind-boggling. I can't believe they're actually doing that. It's so PS3 era, isn't it? In their mindset and their cockiness a little bit. It's like, you know, I mean, they might have, look, they have great studios, but if they continue to push out things like the way Naughty Dog is done with the Last of Us Part 2, right? We saw it was a great game, but it was a very divisive game. You've already pissed off a huge potential market there. You know?
Yeah.
How many of those people who don't have a PS5 are excited for the next Naughty Dog game based on that?
Yeah. I think as well, if it feels more and more like they're pushing out the casual gamer.
Yeah.
And that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
Because most people in the world who game are casual gamers because life gets in the way of being anything more than that. In the same way as like most people who watch movies are not cinephiles.
No.
That's why there's a name on that.
Yeah.
That's a particular type of person. Most people just casually watch movies. Once in a while, they might go see the new Marvel movie or the Fast and Furious movie because that's the movie that's out. But they don't go check out, you know, The Lighthouse and shit like this. You know, they're not going to see the next A24 movie. So in a similar way, it's like I would be careful about pushing out or making almost a, and I don't think they're deliberately trying to do this, but at the moment it kind of feels like they're creating an elitist gaming space.
Yeah, because all the
Don't think
games
that's a
do
good idea.
look and feel the same to some degree. They have
Yeah,
a
like
similar
there's
look and similar vibe, serious tones and things like that.
yeah, and those are the games I love. So
I love
like,
them. Yeah.
yes, they have me as a gamer, but I'm in terms of getting objective.
Yeah, they need to be
I don't
way
think
more
it's a good idea.
diverse.
Yeah.
In the types of games they offer.
And do you think that kind of damage control then is going to come with this PlayStation Showcase?
Which damage control? Like, as in, like, show more diverse
Uh,
games?
Yeah, well, that and just trying to restore a little bit of faith in the brand at the moment, because they've just, I don't know, every
Hopefully.
time they announce something, it seems to piss someone off. So
Yeah, they have been since day one of launch of PS5. They've just been constantly pissed. I don't understand how they're not like looking at Jim and going, "Dude, the fuck, man! Like, everything you say pisses people off. Like, just can we write what you have to say? Because remember, even with the PlayStation price reveal, or
oh, but that was brilliant.
you thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, of course I did, because everyone thought the digital or the disc copy of the PS5 was going to be more.
No,
than
not
what
the
it actually was.
not that the price itself, but
Oh, sorry. What do you mean?
afterwards, right? Once that was done, Jim Ryan then goes, "Now you know."
Oh,
It was
right.
just the way he said it. It's like
he's a terrible presenter.
he's awful. He's just he's fucking awful.
Sorry, Jim.
Sorry, Jim, but fuck off.
You're probably really good at certain things, but this is
you're probably a good businessman, but you do not know gamers. You do not know gamers. Like, at all.
I wonder though if the argument is always like you're saying there, like, are they ever looking at Jim and going, man, we should really replace you? But like, is it a case of,
but
like,
maybe they can't because of a power play?
not just that? Well, look at the sales. It's like, yes, we're pissing people off. I get that, but we're still selling more. Like, the PS5 is still selling ridiculously well.
Yeah, but like,
and it's even to be honest, as someone who loves the console, it is confusing as to how well it's doing.
Yeah, well, like, I personally think that like if we took the example of maybe like the Marvel movies, right, and what Kevin Feige has done and established. Yeah. I personally think that everything that kind of came out post Endgame is very mediocre. Like, everything from the TV shows, everything. But the excitement is still there. People are still wanting to do it, and I think across the board, people do think that actually, that the content is actually kind of mediocre in comparison to what came before Endgame.
Right.
But they've established such a great relationship with Infinity War and Endgame and that phase of the Marvel movies that it's fine. You're going to put up with whatever shite they have, or even with Star Wars, right? Right. Like,
ever since the original trilogy.
Yeah, like, everything post Return of the Jedi is very questionable. Like, everything. But no one gives a fuck because you've established such a great relationship with Star Wars. So how is it, like, if it's performing well, is it because the people that are currently running it are good at their job? Or is it that the people before them were so fucking good that the damage can't be done?
Yeah, but how long can that last? Well, I suppose if you go by Star Wars,
yeah, it can go on forever.
It can go on forever. And it doesn't matter. I gotta say, for the record, there, I quite like a lot of the stuff that has come since Return of the Jedi. I don't want anyone thinking.
Well, so do I, but I think you can, across the board,
people can divide on that.
Yeah,
some people would probably even say to you, it's like, man, you're wrong. Since Empire, some people hate Return of the Jedi. They found that was the divisive Star Wars moment.
Sure. Yep.
I personally don't agree. As a child, like, that was my favorite one. As I've gotten older, that's changed. But
yeah,
man, the green lightsaber, come on,
dope,
fucking sick.
You get what I'm saying, though.
I totally get what you're saying, and I think you're probably right. I think there's a thing of, like, I mean, I even have it to some extent of that. I'm a PlayStation fan.
Yeah,
it's like, I'm getting the next PlayStation. You know what I mean? And I'd wear PlayStation merch before I'd wear Xbox merch. And I really like the Xbox. And I want to get a Series X. And I really like what Xbox is doing at the moment. before an Xbox jumper, I'd feel a bit like a poser or something, or like I have the jumper for the wrong band. It's like I listen to their music sometimes, but I haven't bought all their albums or something like
Sure.
that. You know what I mean?
Sure,
I feel a
I
little
can't
bit like
rip
that.
off all the members.
Yeah. It's like I don't really know all of the all the lyrics to all the songs, you know, or something like that. But so yeah, I think that's kind of interesting in terms of like as a brand, regardless of what they're doing, like is the relationship just so strong there with gamers and with fans that in a similar way to like Nintendo. It's like people who are Nintendo people don't give a shit. Like remember, like we were shocked, or I was shocked anyway.
Yeah.
That the Switch OLED is already like sold out. For
it's people.
And I was like, why would anyone
love anything Nintendo does?
And if people have a Switch, they're still buying the Switch OLED, and so it just goes to show that sometimes, like, if you're just into something, that's it. You just want to have it. You're just part of it. So that's interesting. But in terms of the PlayStation Showcase, which is going to be later this week, what do you think might be shown at it? And then do you have any hopes of what's shown at it?
It's really hard to know what would be shown at it. Like, I suppose Horizon's probably going to get another glimpse. We're so close now. And they probably want to, you know... Is Kena coming out after the showcase?
Yeah.
So maybe more on Kena. Just a bit of hype on that. But I don't know what else they could show. And I think everything that they could show is actually what I hope they show. Which is God of War. I hope they show God of War.
I'm going to hype you motherfuckers up. Are you ready? I'm going to hype you motherfuckers
Abandoned.
up.
We're going to finally hear
I'm
about
telling you
Abandoned.
straight out. I actually don't think we'll see Abandoned.
Okay.
I think that is in such a state. I don't know when we're going to see Abandoned. But I really...
Have you gone onto it since?
Yeah, I have.
And is it still nothing there?
Nothing there.
What the hell?
I follow them on Twitter, and like they actually put out a FAQ section on their website to answer those questions that they just keep getting, and all of them were pretty good damage control. Right? There was stuff like, do you have anything to do with Hideo Kojima? No, we have nothing to do with Hideo Kojima. We are a new studio. We're in the Netherlands. When will you see the game? You will see it as soon as possible. We have a very small crew. We're trying our very best to get this up on the. Why is the file size so big if it was only a short teaser? It's like, that was a muck-up in terms of tech. To be honest, they were saying, we don't know what we're doing, and we're trying to figure this shit out, right? No, I swear to God, I'm not even trying to, like, be mean to them. That is literally what I took from what they were saying. Right. But then, the very last frequently asked question, is Abandon the name of the game? At this point, they should have just said yes and leave it alone. Instead, they went, no, Abandon is a code name for the game. The game's really revealed. I was like, why would you... Stop it! Stop doing this, because you have... Why is it a code name for the game if the game is a new game? Why would any game with a new name have a code name? Like, why would anyone care what the reveal of the title is?
If it was a brand new IP, it's like, you'll never guess what the name is. Well, fuck, no, of course not.
Obviously not.
It's new.
So, in that sense, I actually think I don't think that's going to be shown at this showcase.
Do you think it should be?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't, because I don't think it is what people want it to be. And actually, I think that this whole showcase needs to be a case of, like, all throughout the summer at all those little conferences, whether it was Gamescom or whether it was, you know, Summer Game Fests, all this stuff, people are like, where the fuck is Sony?
Yeah.
And we were saying they're probably going to do their own showcase. This is the showcase. This isn't a state of play. Like, I think this is going to be like an hour long at least.
Hopefully.
And I think
those state of plays are just a waste of time. Like,
they are a waste of time. This is really what they should be doing. Maybe quarterly, but I think I would put money down. I should have put money down before when I said God of War would not come out this year. I'm gonna put money down. God of War will be at this.
Okay. Well, it should be
an actual trailer. Maybe some gameplay, but we will not get a release date. We will get just at the end of it 2022. That's it. They won't actually say a release date. Horizon Forbidden West, I would say we will get more gameplay.
More gameplay, or just a story,
or just
trailer?
Another like story, or maybe a story
trailer.
trailer. Yeah. Probably, yeah. I think we're also going to get Final Fantasy 16.
Oh yeah, that one.
I will be surprised if that's not there.
Hmm.
I also predict Hogwarts Legacy. I know it's
Okay.
not a PS exclusive, but it was shown with the PlayStation 4, and I think in a similar way to Resident Evil Village, I think they're going to have like marketing rights to the game.
Okay.
But I think that the guys behind that don't know where else to show it.
We
You
might
know, like
see more. I wonder if we'll see like kind of the what do you call it? Like, didn't they buy like a tournament thing? Like they're wanting to get into fighting tournaments. PlayStation. I think they bought a like a host of esports.
really,
So we might see more esports shite.
we might.
If it's a bigger showcase. And they
Yeah,
also
yeah.
recently bought, I think, 2 anime platforms, like streaming platforms.
All right,
Like
okay, yeah.
I don't know if it was Crunchyroll, but not Crunchyroll. I think it was something similar to Crunchyroll.
Hmm.
So maybe there might be like initiatives of like kind of weird movie tie-ins and shit like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we could see them go in a direction that we just absolutely don't want.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've seen a lot of tweets from the people who are like game developers
Right.
at Sony. Obviously, they're going to hype it up,
Hmm.
but like, it's the way they're hyping it up.
Okay. So they're definitely going to make an appearance.
Like the president of PlayStation in Malaysia, can't remember his name, and I probably butchered the pronunciation, but he put out a tweet and he said, "All I can say is be prepared, be very prepared." It's just like, I don't know, they're like really hyping up that the announcements are actually fucking nuts.
Okay.
So I think God of War is a definite, 100%. I have no doubt. I'd actually, if it's not there, they'll get backlash. To tell you the truth, they will.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what else they could show really. Like what else is in development? Unless it's like the rumored fucking Metal Gear and
I was just
and
gonna
Silent
say,
Hill games.
I hope that Metal Gear Solid remake,
Because I think that
is announced
Malaysia
at it.
studio is that the name of it? Malaysia. It's just called Malaysia, isn't it? The studio itself.
I think so. I think it is actually.
I think they're an outsourced studio. I'm not like as in they're one that Sony bought in the end, but I think their studio initially their role was in finishing off models and animations, and you know, like a lot of the work would have been outsourced to them to finish off the game. So they would be a studio that they would likely have, like if Blue Point, for example, was remaking a game, that this studio would be helping in that process. I don't know that for certain. I'm just guessing in their previous roles. So if they're tweeting out something like that, it could be, you know, like another remake of some sort that they're working on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I personally would lose my mind if they really announced the Metal Gear Solid remake. I do think it'd be good to see something from Silent Hill as well, and maybe they've like if these things have been in the works and they've been holding on to them for a while, and maybe Sony themselves are now getting a bit pissed off with how out of touch this Abandoned thing is getting. Maybe they're like, right, if we announce them at our showcase, then Abandoned is definitely something else.
Yeah, it'll take a lot of the heat off of that.
Yeah, that's damage control right there. It's like, okay, so Abandoned must be something else. So now we don't know what it is. So now we just have to go with it. But I mean, how excited would people get if they hear that fucking Silent Hill music, which is all they need to show, then the title, and that's it. And then they're like, yeah, Silent Hill. And for Metal Gear Solid, God only knows what they could show as a trailer. But oh man, I'd lose my mind. I know everyone else would be like more into God of War, and I want to see that too. But if they show Metal Gear Solid Remake, that's it for me. I'm so happy I bought a PS5. I just want to replay games I've played before.
Coming 2030.
Yeah, coming never. But yeah, I don't know about those ones, but I'd be shocked if God of War's not there. And I do think Final Fantasy 16 will be as well.
I can't really think of anything else.
I think
unless it's just all new announcements, maybe.
I'd say there will be a couple of new ones, but and I think as well, less exciting. But I kind of predict a Last of Us 2 director's cut.
Do you think there's gonna be a director's cut of that one?
Yeah, I think so. Like I think like just the PS5 version.
Aren't they working
of it
on
will be
multiplayer
called
though?
that. Yeah, and that probably will be shown actually.
Yeah, that and maybe it comes with the director's cut or something.
I would say you can buy it much like Ghost of Tsushima Legends.
Yeah.
You could buy it as a standalone, or it'll come with the PS5 version of The Last of Us Part 2, and coupled together, that's called The Last of Us Part 2 Director's Cut.
Yeah, that sounds like a thing they would do.
Yeah, to follow this like trend of what they're doing at the moment. So
Yeah.
that's another prediction, and I do think Kina.
I wonder how the studios feel about that kind of pricing strategy and all that kind of stuff, because like
I'd be
I'm sure
curious.
they get unnecessary backlash, and none of that is their decisions. So
No, yeah, I wonder. Like, I mean, you could get some who genuinely agree with it, where they're like, "Man, I wish they were more expensive. The fucking amount of work we put in." And then you could get others who are like, "No, that's fucking bullshit." You know, there could be different angles on it, different views on it. When it's your work, you might feel differently about how it's valued.
yeah, it's weird because this almost sounds like another way of, like, remember when the DRM thing was announced for Xbox back on the Xbox One? Do you remember that? And that was all about, again, making more money out of games, and it was angled at, you know, the poor devs. You know, we've got to help the devs. Yeah. Yet when Sony came around and went, yeah, we're not doing any of that, like, I mean, developers were delighted. So I don't know how much of these kind of marketing decisions that they're making is them or actually in good faith with the developers, because I'm sure the developers are like, if you piss off the fans, we don't get to sell our games. So maybe keeping the games cheaper is the better of the two evils, kind of. I don't know. I'd love to know what game devs think.
Do you think there'll be an announcement for, like, an official announcement for that Last of Us remake that they talked about?
Oh yeah.
And I mean, in a similar way to the way Dead Space was announced, which is like, no, it's not nearly out or anything like that. We're just letting you know that we are going to make this.
I think they should hold off on that.
Yeah, I would as well. At this time, I would.
Doing that now with all the other shit that's happening in terms of, like, losing faith from fans and stuff, I think that would just piss people off. It wouldn't look like you're giving me, like, that's a game I would play. Like, I don't, you know, it's not that I don't want that to exist. I don't mind about that. We've talked about that and saying that I don't really care but doing something like that just sounds, the messaging behind it sounds like it's like, oh, this is easy money for us.
And I get you.
Unfortunately, that's how people kind of see that kind of stuff, and I think it could just come off bad. I think it could be a big backlash.
I don't think, like, because I've heard people theorize about that one. I don't think that one, more so because they said they were thinking we might hear from the guys behind Days Gone, who we haven't heard from in a while. But I don't think they'll show that at this showcase, because I think it's more likely to get a Last of Us Part 2 director's cut. And I don't think you do a Last of Us remake at the same showcase as a Last of Us Part 2 director's cut.
Unless the remake is part of the director's cut or something.
Well, that would be insane. But I don't think that's happening. I don't think that's happening.
No.
But I think as well, you don't want your showcase full of remakes. And honestly, I think if any remake is getting announced to this, I do think it's the Metal Gear Solid one, if that's real, which I hope. But yeah, that would be fucking sick, man. Do you think? Another rumor I've heard from people, or, well, it's not rumors, it's theories. It's people like theorizing.
Yeah.
And then it turns into rumors. Because people go, I heard this is going to be at it. And then someone runs with it on wegotThisCovered.com or something. But some people were kind of hoping, I suppose, for a sort of announcement trailer for the sequel to Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
Which they've been in the works on. Yeah. Like, it could be possible to get just an announcement. Yeah.
I could see that. I can't see the next Spider-Man being a big next generational leap. I don't know if they would, like, bother, because Spider-Man isn't like that kind of photorealism. There's a style to it,
Hmm.
So I can't see them in a pursuit for that. Like, I mean, with the next Ghost of Tsushima, you can see them trying to get more realistic with it,
Yeah, you could.
you know.
Yeah.
But not with Spider-Man. I can't see that happening. So, or not that I can't see it happening, but I just don't think that would be in that's their objective. That's their aim. I think they're just looking to make it more fun missions, and more enemies and stuff like that. Bring in more characters. So yeah, I think they could show Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, I think it's a good shout. I think just an announcement would be enough, and it'd be something else that in the future you're excited for that's an exclusive. The first one obviously did really well. Spider-Man is a really popular character. That Spider-Man No Way Home trailer is the most viewed trailer in 24 hours of all time. So regardless of who wants to see it or not, the hype for Spider-Man is unfucking believable. That if they could show anything about him at all, I think people would be really on board with that.
Yeah.
Plus, I'll be honest, I see that as a possible 2023 game. You know, if it was announced this year,
yeah,
and if more of it was shown throughout next year, it might come out the following year.
Yeah, especially considering like the Spider-Man remaster one, which was like obviously a launch title for PS5, but it was their kind of guinea pig for PlayStation 5. They were shown all like their tech demos and stuff like that was using Spider-Man. So obviously the engine for Spider-Man was being used a lot for the PS5. So they have it ready to go. They just need to populate it with things, and yeah, I could see that happening.
Yeah, so that'd be cool if that happens. Do you think there's any possibility of them unveiling the PSVR 2 at this?
Oh yeah, yes I do.
You see what I mean?
Yeah,
like there's a couple of things that have been in the rumor mill for PlayStation for a long time.
Yeah,
they haven't showed up at anything. Now they're having their own showcase.
Yeah,
Isn't
it's weird that
the
fucking controllers for that were just released in a fucking blog at the beginning of the year. But yes, I could see a reveal for that as a launch for next year.
In which case, what's the VR game that's launching with it?
Yeah, Half-Life Alex.
yeah, possibly, yeah.
Yeah, I can't necessarily see. I could see them like taking an existing, like PC VR game that does not work on the OG PSVR, and just using that as a marketing tool for the new one, as opposed to a new game.
I think that's a good shout. I think you're probably right. And also, let's not forget, they're probably going to show Stray at the show.
Yeah, the cat. Yeah, the cat.
And hold on, actually, I'm gonna laugh if they do this. When's Deathloop out?
When is Deathloop out?
It's out like, is that out at the start of October or something, or is it out at the end of September?
Deathloop is September 14.
Oh my god! So it's going to be out the following week.
Yeah.
So
they could show it again.
Going to be shown at it one more time.
In fact, it's just 45 minutes of Deathloop. That's what they're going to show.
Fuck, man, I'd be so mad. That's what the Twitters were trying to say. They were like, be prepared, be very prepared, in brackets, to be mad. I think they probably will show it again but not in a feature. Probably just a very quick trailer and the release date again, just to remind people that it's out next week. Not that I think that's a good idea, but because I don't think they do another feature, because their last feature was the best showcase of Deathloop yet.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah,
and I don't know if there's any point in
reminding you that it's there again.
Yeah. Deathloop has become PlayStation's Skyrim. You know, the way we mentioned Skyrim far too much.
They showed that too much. But I do think partially the reason why they show that way too much, because it was the same shit every time as well. Every time they showed it, was to just reinforce that even though Bethesda are owned by Microsoft, that this relationship is still here, and we just really want to overplay the fact that we still have this game. It's fine.
Do you think as well that they're kind of, not that I thought this, but just you saying that, do you think they're kind of trying to say, it's like, look how well we can market one of your games if it comes over to our system?
I mean, maybe.
in the
Yeah.
future. Like, do you like? Let's be honest. No one if you're running a game studio or game company, you do not want to lose Elder Scrolls. Whatever about the rest of them. Elder Scrolls is huge.
Yeah.
Skyrim alone. I'm sorry that I had to bring it up, but it's in this context, it's true. Has sold so much. Over and over again.
And,
various
and,
copies.
and about to again.
And also on the VR.
Yeah.
So the next Elder Scrolls could have been a great PSVR 2 game as well. And now that might never happen.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah. So you would be like, fuck. I can't believe we lost Elder Scrolls. Above all else. Like maybe, yeah, you might feel somewhat similar about Fallout, but not like Elder Scrolls. No way.
Yeah.
It's huge. So I just like, it's like, can we be friends again? Look what we're doing with that. Look what we're doing. I don't think that's what they're doing, but
it could be. It could be all of the above.
Yeah. There could be a mix of everything.
Tick all that apply.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I wonder if we're going to get like an announcement that none of us know about or that's not in the rumor mill at all.
One that's going to be like,
people.
And it's available now.
That would be cool.
I would
what
love
would, yeah, what
that.
the fuck could that be?
Well, they only ever do that when it's things like teasers, isn't it? Like PT did that and Abandon did that, and
oh man, imagine if they just said, and look at, we're giving everyone PT back.
True Abandoned. Oh, that's something I was thinking of.
What's that?
Which the Death Stranding director's cut that's coming out. The Metal Gear sequence in it, which is obviously Metal Gear, right?
Yeah.
But it's not like this is going to be a thing, right? We were talking about that. You were like, I don't think it is anything, right? And
no, I think it's just a homage. Yeah.
Right. But what if, because that is like a room. It looks as though that's a room where it's like the X-Men's Danger Room. Nearly, it's like you can just press a button and simulate Metal Gear setting. So it could be that Danger Room kind of thing in Death Stranding will have little kind of simulators of Kojima's games throughout the years.
Man, that would be amazing. If he's doing that, that'd be amazing. And I wonder if that's something that he will expand on in the final trailer that's coming.
Because you could then end up with PT in it.
Stop now. But yeah. Norman Reedus, you're in, all right?
Yeah, because they could do the whole thing and it'll work, and he'll like look at the end and everything, and it all matches.
Man, that'd be amazing.
And what are they going to do? It's not as if they own, they kind of own it, but it's like,
yeah, what are they gonna fucking do?
Yeah,
they
not making money off
what are you
it.
gonna fucking do?
Yeah,
well, you know,
whatever you're doing, do it.
Because I actually thought they'll probably show Death Stranding again at this, but then he revealed that his final trailer, which he edited himself, that he's taking a lot of pride in, is coming out the day before the showcase.
That's weird.
So it's not going to be in the showcase. But I wonder why it's the day before the showcase. Is it because he didn't meet some deadline to get it into the showcase, but he's going to put it on because they're both happening around the same time then? Or is it going to end with something that's like a tease that's like check back in on the showcase to see more or something, like, you know?
Maybe.
God only knows, because he's so sneaky with his marketing and stuff, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. I also wonder, because I did say in the past that I think what Konami ought to do to get themselves back on the map is do like a big reveal all at once. 3 games coming back. You know, the Castlevania franchise, the Metal Gear Solid franchise, and the Silent Hill franchise. And people do talk about maybe we'll see a Metal Gear Solid and Silent Hill reveal at this showcase. Mm-hmm. In which case, do you go all in and maybe we'll see Castlevania as well? In an old school throwback kind of way. Like, I reckon that's a game that's going to be not like the Lords of Shadow run on it, but actually more like what they're doing with Metroid now.
Oh, I see. Right. So, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, they could, but I wouldn't see them doing that at this. And I can't see Sony trying to, as beloved as Castlevania is, I don't think they're they would be trying to cement that on their platform only.
Right.
Like I can see them.
Doesn't mean they can't show it though.
No,
Like the Xbox Showcase has had,
yeah.
non-exclusives as well.
Yeah, but either way, whatever you do, you have to throw money at them so that you can. They will show it yours. You know what I mean? And I can't see that. Like if they have like so much money here, and they're like, okay, if we're going to choose, like, do we really need to show Castlevania? Really? Like they could put that up on YouTube and just say it's coming out on PlayStation and everything's fine. Like, but like if we spend it on Silent Hill and like that's going to connect that game to our brand.
Yeah, people, their minds will be blown. Like,
yeah.
I think as well, the important thing about Silent Hill and Metal Gear Solid in particular is that they both started on the PS1.
Yeah.
So in that sense, there's an old school relationship with the PlayStation brand. Yeah, and like obviously.
Has Silent Hill been on anything other than PlayStation?
Silent Hill's been on Xbox.
Which one?
Like the likes of Downpour and that era of Silent Hill games were on the 360.
Oh right, okay.
But I think Silent Hill 1 to like 4. Correct me if I'm wrong out there, guys, but I think they were PlayStation only, and then I think the rest. But then wasn't there a remaster or something of some of them? And I think they came to the Xbox as well. So all in all, Silent Hill has creeped into the other, it has creeped onto Xbox
along with Metal Gear.
Yeah, but they started, of course, on PlayStation, and I think it would be a good standpoint for PlayStation to say, we are kind of taking back these franchises.
Kind of like the Final 7 remake kind of thing.
Yeah, like that. Yeah.
Could we see anything on that?
No, that's not. That's high hope. Stop.
You know what? That's probably all we got. We're never going to see the rest of that game.
No. That's honestly, that's why we're getting Final Fantasy 16. We are getting Final Fantasy 16. Now.
Wait,
there you go.
That PlayStation exclusive?
It will be.
You think so?
No, maybe not. No. Probably not. No, it won't. It'll be. Well, it'll definitely be on PC.
Okay.
And then it might be on Xbox, but they also might be like, I don't know.
Coming a year later.
They're after fucking buying Bethesda, so fuck off. They might be like, they might feel like we need to start taking a couple more things back.
It's salty there.
They actually might. They'll be like, we're not getting more Final Fantasy off us. But interestingly, very recently, Xbox added Final Fantasy 13 to their Game Pass, and then they're also adding on the remasters of 7, 8, and 9.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting.
Well, that's weird. Is there another remaster? Because 7, 8, and 9 are already there. They've been there for a while.
Were they? Oh, I thought that was only a recent announcement.
Because I got 7 when I first got Game Pass, so... Unless it's like another version or something like that.
That's interesting.
Unless it left and it's coming back, because that happens often.
I think that must have been...
Because I remember GTA 5, my first time playing GTA 5 actually was through Game Pass, and then I left it for a bit, and then I went to jump back in, and it's gone. And it was gone for ages, and it only came back, I think, this year. Back onto Game Pass. So that would be the annoyance of Game Pass, is like, you're not even sure if a fucking game is going to be...
I suppose the idea there is like, if you really play it, you really enjoy it, maybe then you'll buy the physical copy when it's gone.
Sneaky.
No, but like, I mean, to be fair, like, you gotta sell games too. Like, it can't be just have them, just have them, But it's a great way of trying out games that you're not sure about. Like, it's a really good system for that.
Yeah.
Or playing old games that you've played before but you've no access to, but now they're there on Game Pass, and you're like, fuck, this is great. But speaking of like remakes and whatnot, in terms of Metal Gear Solid, Silent Hill, whatever, and getting away from the PlayStation Showcase, the guys making Dead Space showed a tech demo, and they went through like a big discussion of where they're at.
Yep.
I thought that was really cool. It was shown last week. I thought it was really, really cool.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit unnecessary, the length of the discussion and things like that. It was kind of saying a lot of the same stuff over and over again. Like, it's different demonstration, but it's kind of the same thing. It's like, how often do they go, now this is only, early stages, it's not going to look like this. It's like, yeah, I know, you said that like 5 times now.
Yeah, I know. That's like, clearly, God, Cyberpunk has really fucked the world, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But it's really like, please don't ever think that this is what you're getting.
Everything they've said in it, though, I kind of got from the original trailer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they were talking about that the lighting is better, the materials are better. It's like, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
The way they're thinking about dismemberment, okay, that's a little bit new. You can't get that from the
And the peeling
the
thing that they were
trailer,
talking
but
about was cool.
You could hold off. It's a little strange. Like why now though? Like why this early are you talking about?
Yeah, like
this?
don't get me wrong. Like I thought it was unnecessarily long.
Yeah.
And I got all of that pretty much from the teaser trailer.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would buy that. That's enough. You don't even need to show me the gameplay because I kind of already know that this is not going to be a Final Fantasy VII remake. This is going to be a Resident Evil 2 remake. This is going to be quite faithful in terms of capturing the vibe and the feeling and the gameplay.
Yeah.
But what I liked about it was not necessarily that they were talking about Dead Space, but just I love those like making of featurettes, and I love behind the scenes, behind like making of songs and stuff. And it was more so I was just thinking more people might do this, and it's kind of cool. And like one thing we never see when they do those featurettes even is we very, very rarely see those sections where all they've got is a playable character and an enemy, but everything else is like blank space.
Oh no,
And
you do.
To me, it was a cool way of showing like people who expect an awful lot from game developers, like showing them like
get that kind of stuff
very early on what happens in games.
Yeah, I mean you wouldn't get it this early, that kind of things, but you do get those kind of makings of a game, right? Which show that kind of stuff. That would release, especially with YouTube now, they kind of release an episode and then like next week they release another episode, next week they release another episode, like a build up to when the game is launching.
Yeah, but
you get that quite.
But you never get it
now.
when they've started it. That's what I'm saying.
No, you don't.
Is nearly
yeah,
like
which is...
It reminded me of like the Linkin Park things where they're actually showing you some of the makings of some of the songs early on, the LPTV thing.
Oh yeah.
And you're only getting snippets of it, like, but you're getting a feel for like they're like we're kind of letting you know what we're working on as we're working on it.
Yeah.
And then they might, you know what I mean? It kind of reminded me of that, which I thought was kind of cool. I also did like that Isaac is going to be voice acted.
Yeah, I wasn't sure at first, but when I think that's the nice thing about the discussion is that I have complete faith that this game is actually going to be great. I don't think this is going to be bad at all.
No.
I don't think it's going to be disappointing because he did say how, like, you know, he's only going to speak when spoken to, essentially. But when he's alone in the corridor, he's not going to be like Aloy talking to himself kind of thing, you know? Like, that was always kind of stuff that really annoyed me with certain games, is that they're just constant inner monologue or just speaking to themselves. It's like, just shut up and let me have this moment. Like, as the player, let me experience, like, I have my own monologue as opposed to you as a character telling me how I should be feeling right now. So I'm happy to hear that they're gonna pretty much have him shut up for the most of the game. But the way they're talking about it is like nothing they said had me like, oh no, you're fixing 0G, fuck.
Yeah.
know,
No, everything
like...
was like, that sounds great. It's like the first game was brilliant, but you're going to make improvements to the first game.
Yep.
Awesome. I'm here for it.
Yeah, and I think that from the trailer, the teaser, the bit where you can hear the suit, you know, like the breathing of it and the way it moves and the little health bar going up on his spine and everything like that. It just reminded me how great the sound was in that game, and I can't
think
wait
the sound design in
to
the
hear
remake
what
is
that
going
is
to be
like
amazing
with the kind of 3D audio and more immersive feeling and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I agree with you. I like they put a lot of faith in me and them when they were talking about the voice acting in terms of like, because one thing I didn't like about Dead Space 1 was that when people were talking to Isaac, you spend half the time just kind of walking
on the other side of a glass,
forth on the side of a glass and not responding at all, and you were like, this is odd. There's times where it's like it's perfect, the silence is so isolating, but then there's other times where you're like, is Isaac a fucking mute? Like, what the fuck? Like, that's his wife or whatever. So to have that he will talk in moments of the game where he's prompted to talk, but he won't talk in moments where you, the player, just need to be fucking scared. Like, that is the perfect balance. Because what they realized when they got to Dead Space 3, Isaac talked too much, it was too action packed.
Yep.
And they lost the Dead Space. And I think that was the reason they did this early on, because I think that even though a lot of people were excited for Dead Space as a remake, there was a lot of people who were like, I don't fucking trust EA with Dead Space anymore, blah blah blah, blah, you know. And
That's
I think
true.
that this was a
when
way
you
of
hear
saying,
EA's behind it, it's like,
yeah, and like your last thought is Dead Space 3,
or anything EA has touched.
Right. So I think in that sense, you know, and I think it's funny that with all these games now, they keep having to stress there will be no loot boxes. You know,
Yeah,
they're getting away from that, and I think it's funny.
I think the no loot box thing though is kind of, you almost expect that. I think I don't know. I always expect that no loot box is going to be in your game.
Yeah,
unless you specify it is.
It should be an announcement rather than the lack of it being an announcement.
Yeah, it's weird that we're at that.
No, but we're only at that with EA. That's the thing. Like EA have to stress that.
Yeah, yeah.
You get what I mean? Because like they became so fucking bad for it.
Yeah, yeah.
That they have to stress, like, guys, or anyone who's working for them, I suppose, is like, we're putting out this game, we're really passionate about it, like we're making it as actual game developers, and just so you know, none of that other bullshit is like going to make it into this game. It's just going to be, you know, what we're making. So I think that's cool and good. So something to look forward to. But guys, let us know what you're looking forward to, both from the PlayStation Showcase, from Dead Space, and also how did you feel about the pricing in terms of upgrading from PS4 to PS5 and that going forward. How do you feel about it? Do you think it's justified, or do you have different thoughts on it altogether? And tell us your thoughts on fetch quests in video games. Maybe people love them, but we don't. We never found Eric after, so we're going to have to continue looking for him. But in the meantime, guys, if you enjoyed this, you watched it on YouTube, be sure to jump down to the comments, give this video a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and click that notification bell. And if you're listening to us on audio platforms, you can also touch base with us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take to give your take on everything we brought up today. You can also follow us on those social platforms. I am forgetting how to speak. Blah, blah, blah. You can also follow us on those social media platforms. We'd really appreciate that. Thank you very much for tuning in and listening. We'll be back to talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye. Seriously, where the fuck is Eric? I hope he's okay. What the fuck is going on? Anyway, I'm sure he'll be